Well, hello, everybody. My name is Angela, middle initial K, last name Durden, and this is The Constrained View.
Life is a funny old broad. She keeps you guessing.
Well, life is a funny old broad, and I claim it. I'm a funny old broad. Uh, it's good to be one, I'll just tell you that. Listen, everybody, we're going to be doing something today with, um, uh, okay, let me explain. I love to go to yard sales. I love them, love them, love them, because you never know what you're going to find, and you never know if whether or not you're going to find something that you just can't live without. And so it was probably 2 or 3 Saturdays ago. I was at a yard sale, and there was a lot of things I would have loved to have had at this particular yard sale, but I just didn't have room in my small condo. You know, when I got divorced, I decided to scale down. I went from a really big house into a very small place as I waited for the divorce to work itself out. And then I purchased a one-in-one condo in Decatur, Georgia. And I did it with the express purpose of simplifying my life. I needed to simplify my life. I was tired of dusting stuff that my kids were never going to want and that were very important for my ex-husband who is now dead. I don't know who got all that stuff, but the thing is that I had been dusting all the things he found precious all those years. And when I went to move out, there really wasn't a lot that I took with me. I didn't take, I took my office stuff because obviously I was working from home in my business. I took my books. I took, you know, little things, dishes, pots and pans. But all this stuff that just filled the house, I just didn't take it. So um, there I was at this yard sale, really enjoying looking at this stuff. And there was this whole box of rings that were just unlike anything I'd ever seen. And he said he was selling them for a friend. And I thought, I would love these, except they were extremely bulky and they only would fit on my little finger. And I don't like to wear bulky stuff on my little fingers. You know, if you're sitting there writing with stuff or you're working on the keyboard or whatever, it clunk, clunk, clunk. And I just didn't like it. And also, my skin is very, very sensitive to everything. This body is a princess, and I hate it because my mind is not a princess. My mind wants to get her done, get out there, slog away, blah, blah, blah. But my body just decides it wants to be the princess. So I have to be really careful about that. But that's not what this is about. This is about the man that was holding the yard sale. Now I'm going to show you his. I took a picture of his T-shirt, and then I cropped it down because I didn't want to show him, um, privacy and all that. And I said, wait a minute, what does your T-shirt say? Can I take a picture of it? He said, yeah, sure. So it's called the 4 Agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Do not take anything personally. Do not make assumptions. Always do your best. And I said, well, that's pretty good. He said, yeah, there's a book by that name. And I said, oh, okay. And he then said, it was really interesting. He has really helped me to simplify my life. And he proceeded to tell me a story that I'm not going to say because it was personal to him. But he said once his children are out of school, And obviously he's not married anymore. But once his children are out of school, he is going to find him a very small place, like a tiny house. If he has to buy a little piece of land and build his tiny house on it, this is what he's going to do. And I said, so you're going to simplify things, your life, right? He said, yeah. And I said, you're going to downsize. He said, yeah. I said, I've already done it. He said, really? How's it worked out? I said, great. It's worked out great. But I want to talk about his t-shirt. So somebody there at the yard sale said, yeah, there's a book called The Four Agreements. And so I went to thriftbooks.com because you can get used books there. They have their entire inventory online. And you can look and see what they have available and the versions that they have available and purchase it right there. It's a very slick operation. I mean, I've never had any trouble with it. Sometimes you call these local bookstores that deal in used books, or you email them, or you drop in and they don't have it, or they never return your email, or they answer the phone and someone says, well, I don't know, the person that handles that isn't here. And I'm all about efficiency, and I'm trying not to be as OCD about it, okay? But I am all about efficiency. And if a company is doing good in their service to me, I'll use them. So that was thriftbooks.com. Now, this is not an ad for them. It's just that's the way it is. So I'm going to show this book to you. This is the cover. I got it. Let's see. We got that. The Four Agreements. So I was looking forward to reading this book a little bit because I liked the four agreements that were on this man's t-shirt. So I got the book. It came in the mail. Yay for me. In fact, I bought a bunch of books that day. I love the John le Carré novels. I really love them a lot, but I don't have all of them, and I haven't read all of them. So while I was on Thrift Books, I looked at the John le Carré stuff and picked out about 5 or 6, 7 books that I didn't have that I've wanted to read, and I just got them. Got it all came to me the same day. Now, I started reading this book. It's by a guy by the name of let's see, where's his name? Oh yeah, there it is. Don Miguel Ruiz. And it says, in the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. Based on ancient Toltec wisdom, I never heard of that before. The Four Agreements offer a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. Now, I'll have to say, I'm reading this and going, another guy with a new spin on something to sell some books. And I don't blame him. Want to sell some books, let's do it. But I started reading. Now, ancient Toltec wisdom, maybe it's Mayan of some sort, South American of some sort. I don't really know. But it was a lot of woo-woo. It was dream worlds and stuff like that, and I'm not even going to go into it. That was all part of the introduction to these four agreements. And as I looked at these four agreements and I was reading some of the stuff, you can see some of the Post-it notes that I've got as I went through it. I thought, all this sounds awfully familiar to me. And I realized that this guy is the new Khalil Gibran. Now, Khalil Gibran wrote a book back in the, I don't even know, 50s or 60s. I know he was a big deal in the 60s because my mother bought one of his books thinking she would get some life guidance. I was just a mere little child, didn't know what it was about. All I know is that she had that book. She had Leaves of Gold, which I wish I had that copy now. I'm sure she probably still has it. It was just that was a good book, with little bits and pieces of things. And the Best Loved Poems of the American People, from Doubleday. Those were the 3 books she had. And then she began to study the Bible. And one day she said to me, she picked up the Khalil Gibran book. And she said, gosh, how old was I? 10 by this time. And she said, do you know that everything he has in this book, he stole it from the Bible? And she could turn to all these scriptures in the Bible that Khalil Gibran was quoting as if he himself had thought it up. It was very interesting. Well, this guy seems to me, this Don Miguel Ruiz, as if he's the next Khalil Gibran, because be impeccable with your word. Do not lie. Do not take anything personally. Believe the truth about yourself. Do not make assumptions. Now, I don't know that that's in the Bible per se. Maybe if I looked at it, I could find it. But we know what assumptions do. They make an ass of you and me. And always do your best. That's just basic human nature. To always do your best. That is how we improve our lives. Yet he's going into all this stuff. Let me see if I could find part of it and read part of it to you. He's talking about domestication and the dream of the planet. What you are seeing and hearing right now is nothing but a dream. You are dreaming right now, in this moment. You are dreaming with the brain awake. Dreaming is the main function of the mind, and the mind dreams 24 hours a day. It dreams when the brain is awake, and it also dreams when the brain is asleep. The difference is that, let me get rid of my little Post-it note, is that when the brain is awake, there's a material frame that makes us perceive things in a linear way. In other words, when you're asleep, your brain does not know that purple polka-dotted puppies cannot walk on a ceiling upside down. But when you're awake, wow, in a linear fashion, you very well know the dog, purple polka-dotted puppy, cannot walk on the ceiling and that it will, in fact, fall. So if that's what he means, okay, fine. When we go to sleep, he says, we do not have the frame, and the dream has the tendency to change constantly. We know this. Humans are dreaming all the time. Before we were born, the humans before us created a big outside dream that we will call society's dream, or the dream of the planet. The dream of the planet. The dream of the planet is a collective dream of billions of smaller personal dreams, which together create a dream of a family, a dream of a community, a dream of a city, a dream of a country, and finally a dream of the whole humanity. The dream of the planet includes all of society's rules, all of its beliefs, its laws, its religions, its different cultures and ways to be, its government, schools, social events, and holidays. Okay, this is just too woo-woo. And yet people will read that as if this is some kind of a new insight into human behavior, when all he did was just turn it into woo-woo. Human behavior it has not changed. Human behavior has not changed. There's evil. There's good. There's people who would never think of committing murder, suddenly murdering someone, and they're shocked at themselves. There's people who have been selfish and bad their whole life suddenly do something for somebody else and they don't know why. and it confuses them. Okay, human nature is human nature. It hasn't changed, and it won't change. All we can do is change our own self. We cannot change. What was that song Michael Jackson said? I'm waiting for the man in the mirror or something like that. It's the man or the woman in the mirror. I can only change myself. I can't change anybody else. We need to understand that. So what I want to do is I'm going to go through these 4 agreements real kind of not quickly, in a little bit more depth, so that we can see how it's always been. Y'all, I know my hair is like crazy. I was out in the yard working this morning, and I've got the biggest part of it put back. It says, be impeccable with your word. Okay, so that means don't lie. Don't prevaricate. Don't try to fool people. Be impeccable with your word. The Bible says, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Be impeccable with your word. And if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're not going to do something, don't do it. Don't say you're going to do something and then not do. That nobody's happy when you do that. They look for they pay attention to your words. Your word said, yes, I will do ABC. And then you don't. Especially, if you're working for somebody and you're getting paid to do something, and they say, now remember this morning, today, you need to accomplish this, this, and this because our customers require this, and that's how we're going to make money. And you go, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, I'll do it. And then you don't do it. Causes problems. So we don't tell lies, but also we don't believe lies. And that's one big problem. Always has been with human nature tends to believe the lie because the lie sounds so much better than truth. Truth is hard. Truth is difficult. Truth is, gosh. Truth takes a spine in order to believe it. It's easy to believe lies. It's easy to believe it sounds good, so it must be true. We all know if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So we don't tell lies. We also don't believe them. Because if we believe the lies that someone's telling, especially once we have proof that they are lies, then all we're doing is helping them to lie. They learn nothing. Okay, number 2, do not take anything personally. Now, the internet is slap full of people who love to attack. What do they call them? Keyboard warriors or something like that. They love to attack, and they love to do it anonymously. They have all these different names for their accounts and that sort of thing that may or may not be true. And then you have psychological warfare by these bots that are programmed to go out and pretend to be accounts that will attack. And they're programmed in such a way as to make people believe that, oh my God, I've done something wrong. But, and that manipulates a lot of people. It's manipulation, pure and simple. You don't want to be somebody who falls for all the manipulation stuff. If you fall for something and you believe it, and then all this information comes into you. This information comes in, this information comes in, and it all says that isn't true. But you so want it to be true that you ignore facts. Then Well, if the shoe fits, wear it. Or should I say, if the stupid shoe fits, wear it, stupid. But don't take that personally, because I'm saying this to the greater population of the world, or whoever watches, may not apply to you. What if you're not like that? What if you're not like that at all? And you really do think things through, and you're logical, and you want to believe the truth. And you know that if somebody calls you a name, pretending for you to be ignorant or whatever, you know that that's not true. I have found this out. I have found this out on social media, from Twitter to Facebook to whatever anybody else uses, even LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, to me, social media masquerading as a something to help you in your business, and it isn't. But there's always going to be somebody on there who is that keyboard warrior, has set themselves up as the referee of what goes on that portal, whichever one it is. And I've been called lots of names. And of course, my reply back to them is, you say that like I've never been called that before. And I have been called that before. Now, let me tell you something. Some of these names bring back bad memories of my childhood. I knew this is the opinion of my stepfather and my mother of me. And I believed it for many years. I believed I was not a good girl. And I believed that I was not worthy of being treated with respect. And I believed all of those things until I became an adult. And in my late 30s, I think it was, I found out that I'd been telling myself lies all those years. I'd been believing their lies, never once questioned it. And then, even as an adult, up until my late 30s, I believed their lies and kept telling them to myself. Now, that was not helpful. And it turned me into a okay, if you look right at the bottom left of your screen, it says Angela K. Durden, and then underneath it says host, author, publisher, not a Quacker-Wodger. Let me tell you what a Quacker-Wodger is. A Quacker-Wodger is one of those, they have the cross-beam wood, and the strings come down from it, and at the bottom is this puppet thing, and you manipulate it around, and it can do all kinds of things based on how many strings you got and all that sort of thing. It's just, it has no brain. It does what it is told. If it did have a brain, it would believe what it was told. Well, I was a Quacker-Wodger. I believed what I was told about myself, all the negative things. And when I found in my late 30s that I wasn't a whore, which I never acted like one, but a kid believes what they're told, and that I was a good mother, and that I was a good wife, then the weight that came off of me from believing the lies others had told me and continuing to repeat those lies to myself, it was huge. 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 Big. And who do we know told the first lie? Why, that would be Satan the devil. Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 5. Yeah. Tells it right there. Satan told the first lie, and he told it to the youngest member of the human race at that time, Eve. The devil uses lies. So why would I not want to be impeccable with my word? Why would I want to continue telling lies about myself? Why do I want to continue believing the lies others tell? I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to. To become a useful person and someone who's strong, then you don't do that. Number 2, which we've been talking about, was do not take anything personally. These 2, 1 and 2, be impeccable with your word and do not take anything personally, are hand in hand about lies. I don't care what someone thinks about me if I know it's not true. That's their decision. It's what they have come up with. So on social media, oh my gosh, somebody on one of my videos on YouTube just posted like this long diatribe thing against some video. I don't even know which one it was. Was it? Yeah, it was one of the videos. It made no sense. Yet if I had been worried that I was turning off the audience, I may have read this, and because it was written very well, but it was just insult after lie after insult after lie, written very well. But I didn't believe it. Now, I looked at it all and I said, does this even make any sense? Based upon what I know about myself at this point in time and my goals and my, what's the word? Motive. My motive. And none of it fit. So I just went, whatever. Moving on. On Facebook, people call me things. I don't care. I don't let that stop me from telling the truth of a subject as I know it, as I have proven to myself. If I think something is the truth, I'll say it's the truth, and here's my proofs for it, and you can make up your own mind. And if you don't want to make up your own mind, so what? It's your decision. I have merely made something available. Now, number 3 is do not make assumptions, because that makes an ass of you and me. I love that little ASSU, me. But assumptions are, there's nothing wrong with making an assumption in a way, because it's a point in time where you say, okay, I think this is so. But once you've made that assumption, now you have to move forward and you have to prove it or disprove it. So it's not so much the making of assumptions. That I may have to rethink that. Do not make assumptions. It should, in fact, be do not allow assumptions to be the end of your thought process. Oh, man, I like that. Let me write that down. Do not let assumptions be the end of your thought process on the matter. Whatever that matter is. Okay. This is awesome. But you see, do not make assumptions. Well, you have to make assumptions. And it's the assuming without thinking it out further, without testing the waters, so to speak, of your thought process, that can make an ass of you and me. If you assume something and I say you're right, or you make an assumption and I say you're wrong, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that It's not the making of the assumption, it's the stopping the thought process at that assumption. So, I'm finding that the fan is blowing suddenly, and I am going to, how do I pause this? Pause this. I'm going to pause it for just a second. Okay, I'm back. Well, so that is a big, huge deal for us. That fan is blowing on my feet now instead of blowing my bangs back in my face. So let's not tell lies. Let's not believe lies. Wherever you are, whether it's a politician, whether it's a social justice warrior, whatever, don't believe their lies. Now, somebody who recommended this book said that this is ancient Toltec wisdom that will teach you how to live as peaceful warriors in the modern world. Well, peaceful warriors, people who say yes, one needs to be a peaceful warrior, and they focus on the peaceful and forget all about what warrior means. Warrior means being able to stand up for those weak, old people, children, mothers with babies who are also standing up for their children as they try to keep them safe from a threat coming at them. Warriors don't like to kill, don't like to fight, but they will, if peaceful means of putting thugs out of business means they have to take physical action because the peaceful stuff didn't work. We're seeing that play out right now on the world stage, and so we need to understand, modern world or not, no matter what changes with technology, people remain the same. No matter what changes with medicine or politics or entertainment, people remain the same. It's in our DNA. And as a group, we have not changed how we act in thousands of years. Individuals can change themselves, but as a group of humans, we have not changed. Each generation has to relearn all the same lessons every time. Children are not born with good knowledge. They're born selfish. And some are a heck of a lot more selfish than others, and they have to learn how to share, and they have to learn how to help others. They have to learn that even if they are naturally inclined to help and someone says no and they get mad, they need to learn that okay, so somebody doesn't want your help. It's not personal. They need to not take it personally. People haven't changed. So I liked the 4 agreements individually, but these are not things that we don't already know. These are not things that are unbeknownst to a goodly portion of us. That they're wrapped up in a woo-woo world. And somehow these things are new to us or mean something different to the modern man. It doesn't matter. Every generation is a modern generation. It's the newest generation, the newest iteration. From the Adam and Eve. They were modern at their time. Their kids were modern in their time. But the people, the DNA, what makes us human has not changed. Well, everybody, that's all I'm going to say about this. I am going to put that on my shelf with my notes. There you go. And let's see what else is coming up. Oh, I know what I wanted to. If you have a comment on it and you have an opinion, I would like to know the following. So what I've been thinking about doing is, because in my studio, my StreamYard studio, I can pull in several people. I can send a studio link to them, and they can be part of the show. And I thought I would like to maybe list a series of topics. You know, every now and then do a topic and say, listen, everybody, if you have something to say about this topic and you would like to be a guest on the show, please send me an email. And you can see, well, there's the email at the bottom. Email comments to AngelaJordan@msn.com. Yeah, that's where you need to do it. And say, yeah, Angela, I think that would be a good idea. And if you have something that you would like to talk about that maybe you've not seen me do before, or that I haven't thought to discuss, then please send it to me. Let me know. We may come up with an interesting show. And my goal doing this, well, sure, yeah, I'd like to make a little bit of money. I'm never going to make enough to pay the bills. I pay the bills other ways. But my goal in doing a podcast like this is the constrained view. If someone has an opinion on a subject, they need to be able to back that up. And if they're doing something interesting, I would like to help them tell the world about it, because there's this idea that it's only those in power, politicians, the businessmen way high up there, the multinational corporations that can do things. No. The majority of interesting, good things, even thought processes. We've got people out there who are, what is it? They're researching things without tax dollars. They're finding ways to do things without tax dollars. I want to be able to talk to those people, and I want to be able to give them an opportunity here on the Constrained View to show these things. So if you're one of those people and you want to be on the show, please email me, and then we'll have a chat on the phone and we'll see what we can work up. If you know 2 or 3 people that y'all are all involved in a thing, we'll have y'all on at the same time. See, I could do that with this thing. It's awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to end the recording now. And let's see, how am I going to do that? Oh, that's right. I'm going to play the outro video. Bye.